Hello, all you awesome people. This video is about how faith guided my new beginning on choosing a career after my traumatic brain injury. So here's my journey of resilience, hope, and divine guidance. My life forever changed the day I suffered a traumatic brain injury. Suddenly, the world I knew was gone, and in its place was uncertainty, fear, and a daunting sense of loss. But what I didn't realize then was that this was not the end of my story, just the beginning of a new one. My struggle. There were days I doubted I'd ever reclaim my independence, to not be a burden, let alone find new purpose. The career I poured my heart into was no longer an option. I grieved not just for what I had lost, but for the future I had imagined. Turning to faith. In my darkest moments, I turned to God. I prayed for guidance, for strength, for the courage to face what lay ahead. I found comfort in Scripture and in gentle assurance that I was never alone. I was also led to this church called First Lutheran in Fargo. My church family there played a big role in my spiritual recovery, and for that, I will be forever grateful. If you want to check it out, their website is flcfargo.org. I'll cover more on this church and the support it provided me when COVID destroyed our support groups and the world became isolated in another video. Listening for guidance. Slowly, as I listened, not just with my ears, but with my heart, I began to sense a new direction. It didn't come as a sudden revelation, but as a series of quiet nudges, encouragement from friends, unexpected interests, encouragement from vocational rehab, and a deepening sense of peace about exploring something new. I also learned the value of kindness, compassion, and gratitude, and it helped me change my attitude from being mad at the world and God to being grateful for all the wonderful blessings I have in my life. I also carry a kindness coin in my pocket, and it seems the more I gave out, the more I got in return. My discovering a new calling. Step by step, God opened doors I hadn't considered before. I discovered strengths I never knew I had, and passions that grew from my own experience of healing. It was through these moments that I realized my journey could help others facing similar struggles. One of the steps in my journey was being a driver and a dispatcher for Metro Senior Ride in Fargo, North Dakota. What I found there was the part-time job, driving senior citizens 60 and over to and from appointments. In my over 2 years of driving, I got to know a lot of people. And one benefit of this job was the people that I worked with and the people that I gave rides to never judged me. And we all know in today's world, especially with brain injuries, people can sometimes be kind of cruel, especially when you look normal like me. Well, kind of normal. After a few months of driving, I started calling my riders VIPs. When I would radio in that I picked up my ride, I would say Van 12 picked up my VIP. Well, this may sound corny to most. I actually had quite a few people say to me, "Are you talking about me?" And I would say, "Of course I am. You're my rider, and you're very important to me." And some of the responses I would get would be, "Well, in all my days, I've been called a lot of things, but I've never been called a VIP, so thank you." I said, "Well, you can check that off your bucket list now." I learned what small acts of kindness can mean to someone, and it didn't cost me anything to do it. As time went on with this job, I started answering phones in the office when needed. And then when I was even further along, I was convinced that I could be a dispatcher in the office. And some days we had 13 vans on the road, and I had to keep track of every single rider to make sure everyone got home at the end of the day. Well, it was very stressful when I started out. But I found more and more of my old skills coming back that I was once told would never come back. So at this point, I'd like to say thank you to all the wonderful people at Metro Senior Ride for over 2 years of letting me work with you and your wonderful organization. At this point in my journey, I felt a different calling. And I had several wonderful people write letters for me so I could take peer support training through the state of North Dakota. I had been advocating for people with brain injuries for a couple of years now, and it felt like the right step for me. What I found during that week-long training was that there's a lot of trauma in the world, and I was there to get my peer support training and with a brain injury endorsement. What I decided within the next couple of months was that it was too triggering for me with all my previous traumas, so I decided on a different route. Vocational rehab convinced me to apply for a job at Productive Alternatives in Moorhead as a job coach for people with disabilities. This part-time job is right up my alley, and I feel I make a difference. Not only does this job pay well, have vacation, dental, 401k, and even life insurance, which up till now I had not been able to get. I not only get to job coach, I also get to pick up clients and drop them off at their work sites. So it's a blend of job coaching and driving. There are a couple of benefits that no one ever mentioned though, but they rank pretty high with me. One of them is that I don't get judged, and I don't judge my clients. It's like a safe space. My clients just want to have a job and be out in the real world, just like me. While we would laugh and joke around, we don't make fun of each other. Another huge benefit, and it's happening more and more, is that I get random strangers coming up to me, thanking me for what I do. Some of them even tell me I have a gift. And while I don't know about that, I do know that I've been tasked with several difficult clients, and to watch them start blooming like a flower as their anxiety goes down and their skills and abilities go up. It's so gratifying to watch and be a part of the process. Also, a part of my healing that still continues is reflecting back on my darker times in my journey. Even though I felt all alone, I wasn't really. There are so many people, places, and things I am grateful for that happened to me and for me. I can now think back at those times when I was so bad, I needed CCRI to help get groceries. And now I am someone who was helping others with their marathon and recovery that they didn't train for either. Those darker times I remember now, I can smile about and say, thank you, over and over, for everyone who had a part in it, and I pray that all the trauma I caused them from having to deal with me didn't make them want to quit their profession. And here's where I get to shout out and I say a huge thank you to Productive Alternatives in Moorhead for giving me a chance when no one else hardly would, and for making me feel valued and respected and making me feel like a part of the team and a family. There are incredible souls like Lindsay, Hannah, Quentin, Adam, and so many others whose presence fills my heart with joy and gratitude. Working with them has been a dream come true. These are the kind people I tirelessly prayed for, hoping someone would see my potential and believe in me. My deepest, most heartfelt thanks to my boss, Juanita. Your kindness, your genuine care, and your unwavering support have touched me deeply. You've given me an opportunity I will cherish forever, and for that, I am endlessly grateful. Your generosity and faith have ignited a fire within me, and I promise to dedicate myself to making the most of this blessing. So in embracing my new career, with faith as my compass, I found this career allows me to serve, to inspire, and to give back. It's not the path I would have chosen before my injury, but it's exactly where I'm meant to be. It is my hope that you can find your special place, like mine, and continue your road to recovery. So my closing reflections, my story is a reminder that even after loss, there is hope. With faith, patience, and trust in God's guidance, new beginnings are possible. I am living proof that purpose can be found on the other side of adversity. So trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3-5. And one of my favorite sayings is, at times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by the spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. By Albert Schweitzer. So thank you, First Lutheran Church, Metro Senior Ride, and Productive Alternatives for the spark that has relit my flame. I won't squander the opportunity to relight someone else's flame along the way. Have an awesome day, everyone, and thanks for listening.